numbered on the dotted line. Let Philadelphia freedom ring and patriotic voices sing. Red, white, blue, never give up. You represent America.
Hoping and praying for a brighter day. I listen to my heart and I obey. How can I see it any other way? I'm looking at life with my own eyes.
Summertime had finally arrived on the full bucket line, but it wasn't the type of summer the engines were hoping for. This year became not only the hottest, but also the driest. Many creeks, rivers, and lakes were at their lowest points or even completely dried up. But that wasn't the worst. Many water towers were completely empty. Thus, freight trains from the east or the west would carry many tankers filled with clean, fresh water for the steam engines. For the Western Pacific, water was not so crucial, since Lewis was the only steam engine on the line. It was one hot summer day that Lewis was resting in the Frampton yard. He had his eyes on a diesel far out being serviced. It was a new engine that came out of the shops months ago, but it still caught the attention of the others, especially Colin and Emily.
Look at the way it's box-shaped. No streamlined appearance whatsoever. It doesn't even look like a proper diesel.
I don't think it's a diesel. I think it's a steam train.
What makes you say that?
See how its cab is positioned? Look, the big part is a boiler, and the short part is a bunker.
I think that new batch of oil has gone to your headlights. What do you think, old man? Hey, old man. Lewis! Hello?
What? Oh, yeah, sure. Whatever.
Lewis was not in the mood to talk. As he kept on staring at the diesel, his mind began to flash him back to January of 1951. It happened 2 weeks after Christmas had arrived and passed. The New Year started out quite dull and cold. However, worse was to follow.
Good morning, everyone. There are going to be a couple of temporary changes around here for a while.
What do you mean?
Earlier this morning, I got a message from headquarters in San Francisco saying that a huge storm had made it through the Sierras last night. The Feather River Canyon was hit. They have snow removal trains from both Portola and Oroville making their way through the canyon, clearing the tracks right now. But with the ice on the track getting through in the canyon, it will be very difficult, especially with a full-size freight train. So until the weather gets better, all of you will be demoted to helper units. I don't want any complaint from any of you. Now then, here are your work orders. Lewis, your job is the most important. You have a large, heavy freighter coming in from the east that will be arriving here at 1 p.m. I need you to help escort it through the canyon.
And it's an important job because...
The train is being powered by 3 new diesels that just got out of the shops. They are making their first run through here.
I see.
Just be careful and make sure that you keep the new engines in order, okay?
You got it, sir.
Oh, it's almost 1. How late do you think the new diesels will be?
I'll give them 10 minutes tops. Did you hear that?
Must be the new diesels with the train.
Sure enough, he was right. The train pulled up right next to Lewis with the 3 new diesels at the head end. They had an interesting design, something that Lewis had never seen before. The body was somewhat box-shaped with a small compartment near one end. They all looked magnificent with the afternoon sunlight glistening on the fresh, bright orange paint.
Afternoon. My name is Lewis and I'm gonna...
Yeah, we know. To assist us through the canyon. Your controller wired in ahead of time.
Good. Now I can get down to business.
Hey! What are you doing? Who said you could be up front?
My controller. From now on, I'm in charge of this train. Now let's get going. We must get to Portola to let the Zephyr have a clear right away.
The time was around 1:36 when Lewis, the three rookies, and the freight train arrived in Portola. The train was parked in the freight yard and was being inspected. Meanwhile, Lewis was sitting alone in a siding near the maintenance shed, getting ready for the big climb, when one of the diesels backed down next to him.
Hey, old man?
I do have a name! It's Lewis!
Sorry, take it easy, will ya?
Speaking of names, I didn't catch yours and your brother's.
My name is Heavy. That's Fives and Echo.
Heavy, Fives, and Echo. I'm sorry, but what kind of names are those?
The ones we picked, pal. You got a problem with them?
Take it easy, will ya?
Look, maybe it's best if I should lead.
Really? You think you can handle a fully loaded train through the canyon?
Yep. We knew diesels are high-tech, and we can handle anything. After all, we do outrank you.
In my book, experience outranks everything.
Well, if it's experience, then my brothers and I are going to have to get some. What's that?
Not good. There's a snowstorm coming. It's gonna make the run through the canyon damn difficult. If you want experience, kid, you're gonna get some.
Okay, I just got a message back from Kenny. Looks like it's pretty bad up there. Not only that there's more snow being formed, but the tracks are also freezing because of low temperatures.
That won't be much of a problem for us.
What? You're not thinking of going through that storm?
It will create less traffic. Plus, we have the new diesels helping us.
But the possibilities of traveling through a storm like that is 1,230...
Don't bother giving me the statistics, laddie. We're going through the canyon.
It's your funeral. I'll wire in Keddy and Orville then. Might as well get a couple of sacks of sand. At around 3, the freight train was ready to go. Lewis and the diesels were gathered at the front to discuss the position of the motive power.
The back of the train will be critical, Joni. We'll have to put Lewis behind the caboose to provide pushing power and to make sure none of the couplers will break.
That's all we need, a runaway set of cars going downhill.
Wait, so we need to handle the train up here alone?
Don't worry, the conductor will be in your cab. Besides, I thought you said diesels can handle anything.
Of course we can. We'll be at Oroville before you can say.
Okay, I get it.
Hey, Echo, nervous? Yeah? I think this might be a little too much for us. What are you talking about? We can handle this. Trust me.
I sure hope you know what you're doing, Lewis.
Of course I do. Besides, they wanted experience, so they are going to get some.
If you say so.
So that's why they call him Echo.
Once the train was beginning to make the assault, the storm got worse. The wind blew fiercely, the temperature dramatically dropped, and the snow began falling to the ground like meteorites. The tracks were also covered in ice, which made the engines apply a lot more sand to create traction, but still, the 3 rookie diesels with the freight train and Lewis still forged onward.
Times like these, I really wish I was back in Frampton.
Oh, it'll cool. We'll be back in Laurel though soon, and hopefully out of this storm. Once we get back to Frampton, drinks will be on me.
I can already taste it. What's going on?
We're starting to lose speed. The train's brakes are coming on. Something must be on. Joni, get out there.
Forget it! I am not walking all the way to the front of the train.
Now, I was going to say to go out there and decouple Lewis from the train. We're both heading up to the front to see what's up.
Oh, right. You got it.
Echo.
It's Fives.
Oh, sorry. What happened up here?
I think there's something wrong with Heavy's sander. It seems to be jammed or something.
Alright, I'll check it out. I believe you're having trouble with your sander.
It's nothing really. I can still continue on. Watch!
Heavy, heavy, heavy! Would you stop? This is not helping at all. Don't you see? These rails are like icicles. You can't get a grip on them. Now, would you please stop?
So, now what?
Okay then, here's what we're going to do. Heavy, I want you to decouple from the train and...
Forget it, Old Iron.
Beg pardon?
Look, even if you can cut me off from the train, there's no point for you guys to continue on.
Who said we're leaving behind? And who said we're gonna give up? I saw 11 just tackle the canyon through the heaviest storms. Even if the rivers flooded right to the tracks, the trains will still continue.
Hello! This is not rain. It's ice and snow. There's no way we can do this.
We can do, and we will do it, with or without your help. But I'm not gonna leave you behind. Now get to the back!
Fine. If you want to continue on with this suicidal trip, then be my guest.
Looks like it's up to us.
What do you think we should do, Echo? Well, since Lewis is our lead engine, we'll follow his orders. That's not gonna be easy. Yeah, I know.
Finally, Lewis and Heavy switched places, and the freight train continued its assault through the canyon. The train had gotten heavier, but they continuously applied their sanders so they wouldn't lose speed. They were about a few miles outside of Ketty, traveling at 14 miles per hour. The strain of the train was starting to become too much for the three engines. Suddenly, they began to feel the strain disappearing.
Right. You feel that? Yeah, it feels like someone is pushing us. But how is Heavy doing it?
No time to figure that out. He's doing his job, so we should do ours. Give it everything you got!
It was now all or nothing. As the train passed the town of Ketty, Lewis's throttle was open all the way to the ceiling, while the three diesels were in run 8. The sound of roaring thunder echoed everywhere. At last, the train made its way out of the canyon and was now gaining speed on its final leg to Oroville. It was 8 minutes before 8 p.m. when the freight train arrived at the yards. The workers were really surprised that it made it through the storm. After servicing was completed, Lewis was put on another siding while an F7 helper backed down to the front of the train. A few minutes later, the freight train left the yard and disappeared into the night. The next morning, Lewis was still sitting on the siding. His crew was enjoying a good cup of coffee while waiting for the right-of-way.
I'd have to say that was one hell of a trip.
Yes, it was. We sure gave you a good workout, Lewis.
You're telling me my side rods are still aching.
Don't you worry, laddie. A good rebuild will make you feel like a new engine.
Great. I can hardly wait.
A few months later, during springtime, Lewis had arrived at Mount Oliver after coming back from the shops. Mr. Wilsman was there to greet him.
So Lewis, how do you feel?
I feel wonderful, sir. are ready to start working again.
That's good to hear. Oh, by the way, someone here to see you.
Heavy?
How'd you know it was me?
Lucky guess. Oh, before I forget, I just wanted to say thank you for helping us that night. Still, how are you able to push like that? I thought you couldn't use your sander.
Who said I was using my sander? Turns out there were 2 large sacks of sand in my cab. The conductor went up to my front railing and began throwing the sand down onto the rails.
I see. Looks like you started to do some thinking.
Still am. Look, I'm sorry about...
Apology accepted.
What?
I went through that same I know everything phase. It's quite common for the new engines.
Well, right now, I just want to do the right thing. Prove my reliability to the railroad.
You will, kid. But not alone. Hey, Mr. Wolfsman! Is it okay if Heavy stays here for a while so I can teach him how to handle trains properly through the canyon?
Of course. You want to do that, Heavy?
Yes.
Lewis, come on. Heavy is heading out with his freight train.
Right. How do you feel, Heavy?
Confident.
That's a good engine. Good luck.
The next day, Lewis and his crew received a message from Oakland saying that Heavy, Colin, Emily, and the freight train arrived safely with no problems. A few days after that, Heavy was reunited with Echo and Fives again. For the next few years, the 3 GP7s hauled many different freight trains through the Feather River Canyon. They would prove their reliability to the railroad until they retired from regular service.